The message arrived on a Tuesday, not with the dramatic flair of science fiction movies. No giant spaceship hovering over a major city, no laser-like show in the sky. Instead, it came through the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Nevada as a simple data packet that took the technicians 3 days to recognize as artificial. 2 months later, Captain Alex Morgan stood beside Ambassador Lisa Nichols on the observation deck of the transport vessel. Both wore their formal uniforms, pressed and perfect. Beyond the reinforced glass, the massive Confederation station loomed, a spinning wheel of metal and light that dwarfed anything humans had ever built. "You're fidgeting," Lisa said, not looking at him. Alex forced his hands to his sides. "Can you blame me? First humans to set foot on an alien station. First humans to meet the representatives of 37 different species. 37 that we know of," Lisa corrected. She smoothed her jacket. "Remember the protocols. No sudden movements. No showing teeth when you smile." "I know the rules," Alex said. "I've been practicing for weeks." The docking procedure was smoother than any Earth spaceflight. They felt almost nothing as the ship connected to the station. A soft hiss of equalizing pressure, then the doorway slid open to reveal their welcoming committee. The aliens looked nothing like Alex expected. The lead figure, High Admiral Zex Tall according to their briefing, stood nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent scales and 4 arms. Behind him stood representatives from several species, some vaguely humanoid, others completely foreign to human experience. Ambassador Nichols, Captain Morgan, the Admiral, spoke perfect English, his voice surprisingly warm. "Welcome to Confederation Central. We are pleased Earth has accepted our invitation." The introductions continued as they walked through gleaming corridors. Alex noticed how the other species kept a careful distance from them, their movements measured when interacting with the humans. The meeting chamber was a vast amphitheater. Representatives from all 37 species sat in curved rows, their attention fixed on the human delegation. Lisa delivered Earth's formal acceptance speech flawlessly. Then came the Admiral's response. "We welcome Earth to the Confederation with open arms," Sextall said. "Your species will bring valuable perspective to our sciences, arts, and governance. However, there is one condition we must clarify." Alex felt a shift in the room's atmosphere. "Humans will not be permitted to serve in combat roles within Confederation joint forces." Lisa blinked, the only sign of her surprise. "Excuse me, Admiral, if this was not mentioned in our preliminary discussions." "A regrettable oversight," Zextall said, his secondary arms folded across his chest. "This is non-negotiable." "May I ask why?" Lisa's voice remained diplomatic, but Alex knew her well enough to sense her tension. "For the safety and security of all species involved," another representative said from the side. This one resembled a giant praying mantis, "including your own." The discussion stretched for hours. When they finally returned to their quarters, Lisa threw her datapad onto the table. "Discrimination," she said. "Plain and simple. They'll take our scientists, our doctors, our engineers, but heaven forbid we get our hands on their weapons." Alex sat heavily on the edge of his bed. "The president won't like this." "The president will accept it," Lisa said bitterly. "What choice do we have? They're offering interstellar travel, medical advances beyond our dreams, solutions to energy and climate problems, all for the small price of being treated like children who can't be trusted with sharp objects." 3 days later, Earth's government officially accepted the terms. Frank Daniels watched the announcement from his living room in San Diego. The retired Marine Corps veteran shook his head as government officials spun the combat exclusion as a minor detail. "They're scared of us," he told his wife, Mary. "These aliens, with all their fancy technology and advanced civilizations, they're genuinely scared of us." "That's ridiculous," Mary said. "We barely made it to our own moon. What could they possibly fear?" Frank took a sip of his coffee, eyes never leaving the screen. "I don't know, but 37 species don't agree on something like this without a damn good reason." No one listened to Frank Daniels. Earth was too busy celebrating its invitation to the stars. 5 years passed quickly. Earth changed more in that time than in the previous century. Clean energy powered every home. Disease rates dropped to historic lows. The first human colonies on Mars thrived under alien-designed domes. Lieutenant Samantha Wells walked through the curved hallways of the Confederation Intelligence Division. Aliens of various species nodded respectfully as she passed. Sam had earned their regard the hard way, by being better at her job than anyone else. She entered the analysis chamber and took her seat at the data station. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface, sorting through information faster than her alien colleagues could follow. "You found another pattern," said Krill, her six-limbed supervisor. It wasn't a question. Sam nodded. The trade ship disappearances near the Orion Spur. Everyone thought they were random pirate attacks. She pulled up a star map with red dots marking the incidents. But look at the timing and locations together. Krill's compound eyes widened. They're probing our response times. Exactly. This isn't random piracy. Someone's testing our defenses. Across the station, Engineer Kyle Patterson examined the damaged engine of a Confederation scout ship. The alien engineers had given up on it, claiming the power core was beyond repair. "Hand me the flux calibrator," Kyle said to his assistant, a young alien from a species that resembled blue-skinned otters. "The manuals say this model can't be repaired once the core matrix is fractured," the assistant said. Kyle smiled. "Manuals are just suggestions." He reached deep into the machinery, bypassing the standard connections. On Earth, we have a saying, "Necessity is the mother of invention." 3 hours later, the engine hummed to life. The alien engineers gathered around, their expressions a mixture of shock and admiration. "How did you know that would work?" one asked. Kyle shrugged. "I didn't, but I figured it was worth trying." That evening, alien anthropologist Torek sat across from Ambassador Lisa Nichols in the station's garden area. The frog-like alien had been studying human history for 2 years now. "I've been reviewing your species' military conflicts," Torek said, his throat sac pulsing with each word. "Particularly this World War II period." Lisa sipped her tea. "A dark chapter in our history." "Fascinating, though," Torek countered. "The strategies employed by both sides, the rapid technological development, the ability to sustain combat despite massive casualties." He paused. "Did you know that in the Battle of Stalingrad alone, more humans died than in all Confederation conflicts over the past 3 centuries?" Lisa set down her cup. "We've learned from our mistakes." "Have you?" Torek asked gently. "Or have you simply channeled those same tendencies elsewhere?" Later that night, Lisa found herself unable to sleep. Torek's questions bothered her more than she wanted to admit. She pulled up the classified reports on human integration into Confederation society. The data was clear. In science, humans made intuitive leaps that surprised alien colleagues. In engineering, they found unconventional solutions. In medicine, they took risks other species wouldn't consider. And in intelligence work, like Sanwell's, they spotted patterns others missed. All the same traits that made humans effective soldiers. The door chimed. Sam stood outside, her face tight with concern. "You need to see this," she said, passing over a datapad. "It just came through intelligence channels." Lisa scanned the report, her heart sinking. A Confederation outpost in the far reaches of Sector 7 had gone silent. The last transmission mentioned unknown ships with devastating firepower. "Could it be the pattern you found?" Lisa asked. Sam nodded. "I think it's just the beginning. These aren't pirates. This is something else entirely." "Have you shown this to the military command?" "Yes," Sam said. "Admiral Zextal is assembling a response fleet. But," she hesitated. "But what?" "They're using standard Confederation tactics. Formal engagement protocols. By-the-book responses." Lisa remembered Torek's words about human warfare, about adaptation, improvisation, and the willingness to sustain losses to achieve victory. If these attackers don't play by Confederation rules, she said slowly, the standard response won't be enough. Sam's expression was grim. That's exactly what I'm afraid of. The attacks continued for weeks. The unknown enemy struck without warning, hitting stations and colonies across 3 sectors. The Confederation called them Ravagers, a simple name for a complex threat. Olivia Scott checked her equipment one last time. The research station's alarms blared around her. Most of the staff had already evacuated, but 3 alien scientists remained trapped in the lower labs. Dr. Scott, the last shuttle leaves in 10 minutes, a voice said over the comm. Captain's orders. Everyone must evacuate. Olivia ignored the message. She sealed her environment suit and opened the emergency stairwell door. The main power was out, leaving only dim red emergency lighting to guide her way down. 2 levels below, she found the first scientist. The small, 6-legged being was trapped under fallen debris. Olivia lifted the metal beam, her muscles straining with the effort. The alien scientist scurried free. Can you walk? She asked. Yes, the alien replied in a high-pitched voice. But Dr. Nixtal and Dr. Vroon are still in the cellular lab. Olivia nodded. Follow this corridor to the evacuation point. I'll find them. The explosions grew louder. The Ravager ships were targeting the station's support structures. Olivia felt the deck shift beneath her feet as another blast hit nearby. She found the other 2 scientists barricaded in the cellular lab. The door was jammed, bent inward from the station's shifting structure. Stand back, she shouted through the metal. She pried open an emergency panel and rewired the door mechanism manually, a trick she'd learned from watching Kyle Patterson work. The door slid open halfway, enough for the aliens to squeeze through. The specimens, Dr. Nixtal said, clutching a container of glowing samples. We cannot leave them. Olivia took the container. I'll carry this. You 2 move quickly. The station groaned around them. They ran down the corridor as ceiling panels fell and lights flickered out. Olivia pushed the aliens ahead of her as they reached the evacuation dock. The last shuttle waited, its engines already running. They made it with seconds to spare. As the shuttle pulled away, Olivia watched through the viewport as the research station broke apart in a series of explosions. From his command ship halfway across the system, Admiral Zextal watched the footage of the rescue. His second-in-command stood beside him. Play it again, the Admiral ordered. The screen showed Olivia running through the collapsing station, calm and focused despite the chaos around her. The timestamp showed she had stayed behind for 27 minutes after the evacuation order. Notice her heart rate, Zextal said, pointing to the medical telemetry recorded by Olivia's suit. Elevated but steady. No panic spikes, even when that support beam nearly crushed her. Impressive control, his second admitted. Zextal switched screens to a tactical display showing the latest Ravager attacks. Red dots spread across the star map like a disease. Our forces are struggling, he said quietly. The Ravagers don't follow any tactical pattern we recognize. They strike without warning and retreat before we can mount an organized response. We have the numbers, his second said. We have the firepower. Numbers and firepower mean nothing without the right strategy. The Admiral replayed the footage of Olivia's rescue one more time. I want all data we have on human military history. Everything. Battle analyses, strategic doctrines, even their fictional war stories. His second looked alarmed. Sir, that information is restricted by order of the High Council. I am aware of the regulations, Zextal said coldly. I am also aware that we've lost 17 outposts in 3 weeks. The Confederation has not faced a threat like this in 5 centuries. He zoomed in on Olivia's face, calm despite the station falling apart around her. Perhaps, he said, it's time we reconsidered our position on human combat potential. Meanwhile, far from the front lines, the Ravager command ship moved silently through the darkness between stars. Inside, beings of unknown form planned their next attacks, studying the Confederation's predictable responses with what might have been amusement. What they didn't know was that humans had joined the equation, and humans were anything but predictable. Colonel John Rivers waited in the small meeting room. The message had been brief and encrypted. Come alone. Tell no one. His military instincts screamed trap, but his curiosity won out. The door slid open. Admiral Zextal entered alone, without the usual escort of aides that followed high-ranking Confederation officers. "Thank you for coming, Colonel," the Admiral said. John stood, not like I could refuse a direct request from the head of Confederation forces. Zextal gestured for him to sit. "What I am about to show you violates several council directives. If anyone discovers this meeting took place, my career will end." John raised an eyebrow. "Sounds serious." "It is." The Admiral activated a small device. The room's lights dimmed, and a holographic display appeared between them. "Do you know why humans were excluded from combat roles in Confederation forces?" "The official line is for everyone's safety," John said. "Most humans think it's because you don't trust us." Zextal's four hands moved in a complex gesture that John had learned meant discomfort. "Trust is not the issue. Fear is." The hologram changed to show footage John had never seen before. Human soldiers in simulation exercises against alien troops. The simulations appeared to be from before Earth joined the Confederation. "Before we contacted Earth, we studied your species extensively," Zextal said. "Part of that study involved combat simulations." John watched in silence. The simulated human forces moved in ways that seemed ordinary to him, taking cover, flanking maneuvers, laying down suppressive fire. But they consistently overwhelmed the alien forces. "I don't understand," John said. "These tactics are basic, nothing special. To you, perhaps." Zextal changed the display. "Confederation species evolved with strict rules of engagement. Our wars have always been formal, contained, with clear objectives and minimal loss of life. Even our most aggressive species avoid unnecessary casualties." The display showed clips from Earth's military history, ancient battles, modern conflicts, even footage from recent training exercises. "Humans fight differently," the Admiral continued. "You adapt instantly. You accept casualties as inevitable. You employ deception as standard practice. You fight with a level of aggression that most Confederation species are incapable of." John began to understand. "You kept us out of combat because we're too good at it. In every simulation we ran, human forces achieved victory against superior Confederation numbers. In some cases, a single human platoon defeated forces 10 times their size." The Admiral's voice grew quiet. "It was not prejudice that led to the combat exclusion, Colonel. It was terror." John let this sink in. "Why tell me this now?" The display changed to show the latest Ravager attacks. Confederation ships forming perfect, textbook formations, and being destroyed by unpredictable enemy tactics. "The Ravagers fight like you do," Zextal said. "They adapt. They use deception. They accept losses to achieve objectives. Our forces are trained for warfare by rules. The Ravagers, like humans, acknowledge no rules in combat." "You need us," John said, understanding dawning. "You need human soldiers." "I need human thinking," the Admiral corrected. "The Council will never agree to arm humans, but they might agree to let humans advise our forces. Teach us to think like you do." John studied the tactical displays showing the overwhelming Confederation losses. "It won't be enough. Your troops don't have the instincts or training for this kind of fight." "What would you suggest then, Colonel?" John took a deep breath. "A test case, a small human combat unit, strictly controlled, deployed against the Ravagers in a limited engagement." Zextal's outer eyelids closed briefly, the equivalent of a wince. "The Council will resist strongly." "Then you'll need to convince them," John said, pointing to the display of burning Confederation outposts. "Because from what I'm seeing, You're losing this war." The Admiral was silent for a long moment. "I will need your help, Colonel. And I will need a commander for this unit. Someone skilled but not too scary," John finished. "I know just the person." Ambassador Lisa Nichols had never seen the Confederation Council chamber so full. Representatives from all 37 species packed the tiered seats. Emergency sessions were rare. Emergency sessions with humans as the main topic were unprecedented. "This proposal is madness," said the Valeri representative, his fur bristling with agitation. "We all agreed humans would be excluded from combat roles. Now you wish to create a human fighting force." Admiral Zextal stood calmly at the center of the chamber. "I wish to create a small special unit, under strict observation, to address the Ravager threat. The human capacity for violence is well documented," said another representative. "Once unleashed, can we truly control it?" Lisa stepped forward. "My species has fought many wars, yes, but we've also created art, music, and literature celebrating peace. We've built societies based on cooperation and mutual respect, just like yours." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Lisa continued, her voice strong. "The Ravagers don't follow your rules of engagement. They don't care about your combat traditions. They're winning because they're unpredictable, just like us." The debate raged for hours, then days. Lisa worked tirelessly, meeting with individual representatives, addressing concerns, making promises. Colonel Rivers provided tactical assessments showing the continuing Ravager advance. Behind closed doors, John Rivers met with the human chosen to lead the proposed unit. Alan Carter didn't look like a soldier. At 45, he was older than most active military personnel. Average height, average build, with kind eyes and a thoughtful demeanor. Only the small scar above his right eyebrow hinted at his combat experience. "They're scared of us," Carter said, reviewing the videos of the combat simulations. "Can't blame them. Humans can be pretty frightening when we fight." "That's why you were selected," John replied. 12 years of Special Forces experience, 4 combat tours, highest marksmanship scores in your division. But you don't look threatening." Carter smiled slightly. "Is that a compliment? It's why you'll get approved when others wouldn't. You're the perfect balance, experienced enough to win but gentle enough not to terrify our allies." On the 5th day of debate, the news arrived that shocked the Council into silence. The Ravagers had destroyed Nova Colony, a major Confederation world. Over 2 million lives lost in a single day. The Taurian representative rose slowly, his massive frame towering over the others. "My people are warriors, and yet we have failed to protect Nova Colony. Perhaps it is time to try something new." The vote was close. 19 species in favor, 18 against. The human combat unit was approved with strict limitations. 20 soldiers maximum. Deployment only with council permission. Alien observers at all times. That evening, Lisa found Admiral Zextal in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. "Did you get what you wanted, Admiral?" she asked. "Not what I wanted," he replied. "What we needed. My people are concerned about the restrictions. 20 soldiers isn't much." Zextal turned to face her. 20 humans might be more than enough. I've reviewed your military history, Ambassador. Your small special forces units have achieved remarkable results against overwhelming odds. You've done your homework, Lisa said. I had to. The Council fears what might happen if humans become too integrated into our military structure. And what do you fear, Admiral? He looked back at the stars, where somewhere the Ravagers were preparing their next attack. I fear what will happen if they don't. Alan Carter watched the sun rise over the Confederation training facility. By evening, his 20 selected soldiers would arrive. Men and women who had never expected to serve in combat roles in space. People chosen not just for their skills, but for their judgment and restraint. His comm unit beeped with a message from Earth Command. Operation Pandora approved. You have 3 weeks to prepare your unit. Good luck, Commander. Carter smiled grimly. The galactic elite had finally realized what humans had known for centuries. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon was also the most necessary one. The Confederation observers watched with growing unease as the human soldiers prepared for their first mission. The special unit, officially named Terran Response Force, but nicknamed Pandora's Box by its members, trained in ways that confused and disturbed their alien monitors. "Why are they laughing?" asked Vril, the Taurian observer. "Combat preparation should be serious." Admiral Zextal had expected this. Humans use humor to cope with stress. It's a psychological tool. They watched as Commander Carter gathered his team. The 20 humans were a diverse group, 12 men, 8 women, ranging from 25 to 48 years old. Each had been carefully selected not just for combat skills, but for adaptability and self-control. "The mission is simple," Carter told his team, pointing to the holographic display of a small moon orbiting a gas giant. "The Ravagers have established a supply base here. The Confederation has tried 3 times to take it out using standard tactics. They failed each time." "So we're not using standard tactics," said Gina Martinez, the team's explosives expert. "Exactly." Carter changed the display to show the base's layout. "We're going in quiet. No massive fleet, no formal engagement protocols. Just us, with minimal equipment." The Confederation observers exchanged worried glances. This was not how their military operated. The human preparations continued in ways that seemed strange to the aliens. Some soldiers wrote letters to family members. Others cleaned their weapons repeatedly, a ritual that seemed unnecessary given the automated maintenance systems. 2 sat quietly practicing controlled breathing exercises. One hummed a tune while sharpening a knife that the Confederation officers had initially objected to as primitive. The day before deployment, Zextal visited the humans' quarters. He found Carter studying the mission details one final time. "Your team seems confident," the Admiral said. Carter looked up. "They're professionals. They know the risks. You accept that some may not return." "We hope everyone comes back," Carter said. "We plan for everyone to come back. But yes, we accept the possibility of casualties." The Admiral's outer eyelids blinked rapidly. "Our species finds this difficult to understand. Our warfare evolved to minimize loss of life. Even one casualty in a mission is considered a failure. With respect, Admiral, that may be why you're losing this war." The mission launched at dawn. A small unmarked ship carried the human team toward the Ravager base. They wore adapted Confederation armor, modified to allow greater movement, and fitted with Earth-style tactical gear. The Ravager base came into view on their scanners. Unlike the ordered logical layouts of Confederation facilities, it appeared chaotic and irregular. "Reminds me of pirate compounds back home," said Jeff Nelson, the team's scout. Carter nodded. "Defensive positions aren't symmetrical. They've prioritized coverage over aesthetics." The team deployed in small pods, landing quietly at different points around the base perimeter. The Confederation observers watched nervously from the monitoring ship as the humans infiltrated the facility without triggering alarms. What followed shocked the alien watchers. The humans moved like shadows, disabling security systems, placing explosive charges at key structural points, and neutralizing Ravager guards with quick, efficient movements. They didn't engage in formal combat. They simply eliminated threats and moved on. When the first explosion hit the power generators, the Ravagers responded in confusion. By the time they organized a defense, 3 more critical systems had been destroyed. The humans melted away before direct confrontation, only to appear elsewhere in the complex. 2 hours later, the mission was complete. The supply base lay in ruins. Of the 20 humans deployed, 18 returned unharmed. 1 suffered minor injuries. Only 1 didn't return at all. Back on the Confederation command ship, the alien military leaders reviewed the mission recordings in stunned silence. "This isn't warfare as we understand it," one officer said finally. "No," Admiral Zextal agreed. "It's effective." Carter submitted his after-action report with a simple conclusion. Mission accomplished. Ready for next assignment. The Confederation Council, upon reviewing the success, authorized 3 more operations. The legend of the Human Combat Unit began to spread throughout Confederation space. Some feared it. Others welcomed it. All wondered what would happen when the Ravagers realized what they were now facing. 1 year passed. The war against the Ravagers changed in ways no one had predicted. Alan Carter stood on the observation deck of the Confederation flagship, watching as the combined fleet assembled. Human soldiers now served alongside alien troops in mixed units. The distinctive blue stripe on their armor marked them as combat advisors, teaching Confederation forces to think and fight differently. "Quite a view," said Admiral Zextal, joining him at the window. Carter nodded. "A year ago, they wouldn't let us carry weapons. Now there's a human officer on every ship." "Change comes slowly to the Confederation," the Admiral said. "But it comes." Below them on the training deck, human surgeons taught alien soldiers urban combat techniques. In the tactical room, human officers helped plan the upcoming battle. The integration wasn't perfect. Cultural misunderstandings still occurred, but it worked. Proxima Station reports Ravager ships approaching. A voice announced over the comm system. "All personnel to battle stations." The Admiral turned to Carter. "Are you ready, Commander?" "As ready as we'll ever be." Proxima Station was the Confederation's most important forward base, protecting a densely populated sector. Intelligence suggested the Ravagers planned to capture it intact rather than destroy it, making it the perfect place for a decisive battle. As the Ravager fleet appeared on the long-range scanners, Lisa Nichols watched from the diplomatic vessel positioned safely behind the battle line. Beside her stood Torek, the alien anthropologist who had once questioned her about human warfare. "You were right," Lisa admitted. "We never truly lost our capacity for combat." Torek's throat sac pulsed thoughtfully. "Perhaps that is not entirely bad. The Confederation grew complacent with peace. We forgot that sometimes one must fight to preserve it." The battle began. Unlike previous Confederation engagements, there was no formal exchange, no traditional opening maneuvers. The human-influenced fleet split into seemingly chaotic formations, designed to confuse and disorient. The Ravagers, expecting the usual predictable response, found themselves outmatched for the first time. Their ships took heavy damage as Confederation vessels targeted their vulnerabilities with precision strikes. On Proxima Station, Samwell's coordinated intelligence from her command post as the Ravagers attempted to board. Her team had spent months studying Ravager tactics, finding patterns even the aliens didn't know they followed. "They're preparing to breach Section 7, she informed the defenders. "They always hit life support systems third." The defenders, a mixed unit of humans and aliens, set their trap and waited. When the Ravagers burst through the airlock, they found not the usual organized resistance, but a series of deadly ambushes. 3 hours into the battle, the tide had clearly turned. The Ravager fleet began to retreat, leaving behind damaged vessels and failed boarding parties. For the first time, the Confederation had achieved not just a defensive hold, but a decisive victory. 2 days later, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. The central chamber was packed as representatives from all 37 species debated the implications of the victory and the role humans had played in it. The combat exclusion policy must be formally revoked, Admiral Zextal stated. Humans have proven their value. More importantly, they have shown they can wield their fighting ability with restraint and wisdom. The vote was unanimous. The restriction that had defined humanity's place in the Confederation for 6 years was lifted. After the session, a young alien diplomat approached Carter as he stood with Sam Wells and Lisa Nichols. "Is it true what they say?" The diplomat asked nervously. "That humans actually enjoy combat." Carter exchanged glances with his companions. "We don't enjoy it. We're just very good at it when necessary." "A necessary darkness," Lisa added. "One we learn to control." Admiral Zextal joined them, his four arms holding glasses of celebration drinks. To unexpected allies, he said, offering the drinks, and to the wisdom of knowing when to fear something and when to embrace it. As they raised their glasses, a message arrived from deep space monitoring. Reports of new, unknown ships at the edge of Confederation territory. Not Ravagers, something else entirely. Carter smiled slightly. Whatever came next, humans would be ready. Not excluded, but included, for everyone's safety.